Well, I just want to bathe in the bath of liberal tears ever since Trump picked his new Supreme Court judge. So this has been incredible, very entertaining, and I'm just going to go through two of the countless articles that just been released in the last 24 hours, um, demonstrating the hysteria of the radical left, and just furthering the proof that they are not fit for office, among other things. I mean, do I have to really go into all the reasons why? I mean, this is just further reason why they're insane. Further reason why you shouldn't vote for them. Further reason why you just shouldn't pay attention to anything these radicals say. Not all, hashtag not all liberals. I'm not saying all the liberals are crazy, just the radical ones. But there are a lot of radical ones. And they've taken over politics, they've taken over the media for some time now. So they come up with stupid fucking headlines such as this. Dems warn, let me try it again. Dems warn of deaths of countless women. So just in the previous video where they are trying to twist people's emotions and trying to use children as an emotional baggage, an emotional, emotional hostage in order for people to be guilt-tripped into supporting their policies, doing the same thing here. They're trying to guilt you and use now the women card, the whammon card. They've already used the children card in the separation of immigrant children at the border. That didn't work because everyone saw it was fucking retarded. So now they're trying this one. They're trying the women card because to twist people's emotions, you go for the women and children. That's how you twist. But men, who gives a men? They can take care of themselves. They're tough. But women and children can't. So let's get into this article, shall we? I don't care. Fuck. President Trump's nomination of Brett, I can't even say his last name, Kavanaugh? Like, it doesn't matter. To replace retiring Associate Justice Anthony Kennedy has set the stage for a bruising confirmation battle as Senate Democrats and liberal groups vow to resist what could be a dramatic and long-lasting rightward shift on the Supreme Court. Within seconds of Trump's announcement in the White House Monday night, the far-left Political Action Committee, Democracy for Action, called Kavanaugh 53 reactionary ideologue, whose confirmation would directly lead to the deaths of countless women with the dismantling of abortion rights. You know what it would also do if he actually... we don't even know what he's going to do. He personally doesn't believe in abortion, but that doesn't mean anything about how he will rule on Roe versus Wade. And lots of people think the hysteria thinking that he will overturn Roe versus Wade is ridiculous. But since you can't get inside his mind, you can't predict the future, that's not what we're going to talk about today. What we're going to talk about is the reactions that's already been happening. This hysteria. And at least they're honest in calling this Political Action Committee far left, because it's true. And directly lead to the deaths of countless women. You know what that will also do? That will, if you actually dismantle abortion rights, that will actually save countless women, because half of all fetuses aborted are women. You don't mention that, do you? Because you don't believe they're human, because you're bloodthirsty savages who just jack off, apparently, to murdering tens of thousands of kids. But you don't believe they're kids, so it's okay. That's your excuse. Science, out the window, I don't care. It's my feelings. I don't want to be inconvenienced by raising a kid because I was some sort of fucking slut and couldn't keep my legs shut. So now I'm going to use the excuse, oh, it's not a human, so it's okay to kill it. It just... Oh, okay, so you're going to make an abortion harder to get, so women will become desperate because they're stupid and they've tried themselves in the back alleyway with the coat hanger? Is that what you're insinuating by saying that this will lead to deaths of countless women? Not even mentioning that it will save tens of thousands of female fetuses. We don't care about that. And then he's... in a statement, the Women's March, we should listen to them. The Women's March, we should totally listen to their statements because they've already proven to be rational, logical resistors to the Trump administration. That's why their statements is so fucking hilarious. With Trump's announcement today is a death sentence for thousands of women in the United States. What they're trying to do is guilt trip you into going against Trump by saying, if you don't support my political resistance against Trump's nomination, that means you want thousands of women to die. And everyone else is sitting here just like, no, don't believe in your far radical ideology and I want someone who protects the Constitution, or if you're a right winger, say I want someone who upholds the Second Amendment and is against abortion because those are my beliefs. Nothing to do with mass slaughter of thousands of women. Stripping a woman's ability to make decisions about her own body is state violence, the group continued. We cannot let this stand. We will raise our voices and take to the streets. We take to the streets because apparently you guys have nothing better to do than constantly go out in the streets and whine about shit because things aren't going your way. I have like 10,000 better things to do. That's why I don't do that. Because I actually have a job and responsibilities and life, but that's beside the point. So, once again, they are counting this as a woman's ability to make decisions about her own body. But this isn't her own body. It's the baby's body, which happens to be in her body. But this isn't about you. Stop making it about you, you narcissistic twats. It's about an unborn fetus who has no chance to defend itself, and you want to slaughter it because you just don't want to bother to take care of it. It's not state violence. So in this fucked up, whoever the fuck wrote this, whoever, like, the Women's March, whoever in the Women's March wrote this stupid fucking statement, preventing hysterical, bloodthirsty women from mass slaughtering babies is state violence. Stopping people from slaughtering people is state violence. How, and you'd be thinking to yourself, in what reality is this humanly possible? In far liberal fantasy land. That is why it makes sense to them, because they live in a different reality than we do. And then it goes into how they didn't even bother to write the name. They're already going to resist no matter who they picked because the name was XX. So okay, whatever. That's just a blunder. That is pales in significance to the previous two statements I just mentioned, which is completely off the rails with how stupid it is. The mood outside the Supreme Court soured quickly throughout the evening as protesters screamed and jostled in a markedly hostile atmosphere after Trump announced his selection. But liberals being hostile when they don't get their way? Oh, I can't believe that happens. It's not like that happens all the fucking time. And liberals become violent because they view violence as a correct way to get their way in the political sphere. No fucking way. Okay, this guy, Kavanaugh, who is a Catholic and formerly served as a law clerk for Kennedy, has long said he would broadly respect legal precedent, including Roe versus Wade. So that's why people are saying, why do you think he wants to overturn Roe versus Wade when he has said in the past that he supports it? You know, newsflash to these fucking idiots. Some people are mature enough to take their personal opinions on things out of the equation whenever they're doing their job. And I know that's impossible for the far-left liberals to fucking understand. But this guy could possibly take his personal opinion of not liking abortion out of the equation whenever he is ruling on a legal thing amounting to abortion because he believes in the Constitution. And he takes his personal feelings out of the equation and says, I'm a Supreme Court judge. My job is not be an activist judge and rule on what I think should and should not happen in the country. I make rulings based on the Constitution. That is what judges are supposed to do. Judges are not supposed to play God and say, well, I think that the government should do this, so I'm going to rule in this favor. Like Sotomayor, that fat, stupid bitch who's fucking ruining shit. But this just goes over their heads. It completely goes over their heads if someone can do that. Top Senate Democrats who have long said they would not seriously consider any of the candidates Trump was considering, so they didn't give him a chance. This is constant Trump derangement syndrome, where no matter what he does, they will cry that he's a Nazi and a racist. Even when he does actions exactly the same as Obama, like separating children at the border, or continuing the drug war, or continuing the war on terror, all completely horrible policies. But when Obama did it, they didn't say anything. But then when Trump does the exact same thing, just looking at his playbook and then doing it, then they get all mad. Citing what they called an anti-abortion record. So this is the whole crux of, well, the major crux. There's a minor crux we'll go into after this. But this is the whole major crux of why they don't want this guy to be a Supreme Court judge because he doesn't like abortion. So Democrats in 2018, let us slaughter people in mass, otherwise we will block every single thing you try to do. Senate Minority Leader Chuck I'm a fucking wimp-ass bitch, called for killing a nomination. I'm not going to read all this because you're just drawing on and on and on. Trump has put reproductive rights and freedoms and healthcare protection for millions of Americans on the judicial chopping block. Saving human beings is putting healthcare and freedom on the judicial chopping block. But when we mass slaughter humans, that is freedom and healthcare. This is why millions of Americans despise these people, because they are so bloodthirsty, insane psychopaths. It's not just, I simply disagree with you on an issue. It's like, I don't know, tariffs, for example. Like, let's say Republicans and Democrats differ on what type of tariffs should be on what different goods. It's just like, you know, you can make arguments for and against whatever, you know, but you're not ending in people's deaths, you're not ending in their freedoms and taking whatever. So at the end of the day, it's just disagreements on economic policies. That's an instance where it's like, okay, I'm not going to go hyperbole on your ass and just say, you know, I disagree with you on this because I think this is better than this, whatever. But this is not what they're doing. They're saying, let us mass slaughter people, otherwise you hate women and want them to die. Like, when your goal is to mass slaughter people, you wonder why so many millions of Americans don't want you in office. And wonder why you keep losing elections, why Trump just decimated you. Not only win the presidency, but the Republicans won both parts of the Senate. Both parts of Congress, sorry. The Senate and the House. You wonder why you keep losing. You wonder why people make fun of you all the time. Because you're just psychotic. You have no self-awareness whatsoever. If only you could see yourselves how we see you, you would realize why so many people hate you and they don't want you in office. Poor Bernie. Oh, he's so mad. He's so mad. Okay, so done with the articles. Now we're going to the second thing, which they're crying about. So not only do they hate him because he's anti-abortion, but they hate him because he's a staunch gun right defense. Oh, isn't that so horrible? He's such a horrible guy. He doesn't want hundreds of thousands of humans to die, and he also wants humans to be able to protect themselves when a thug or rapist or a burglar or someone tries to attack them. What a horrible person. Trump is just literally Hitler. So they talk about his dissenting opinion on a pivotal gun ban 2001. In Heller versus the District of Columbia, the D.C. Circuit Court upheld a district ordinance banning most semi-automatic rifles. But in that case, that guy wrote the dissenting opinion arguing that the Supreme Court had already decided handguns, the vast majority of which today are semi-automatic, are constitutionally protected under the Second Amendment. Okay, so the Second Amendment constitutionally protects semi-automatic pistols. The Supreme Court had already decided that. But then suddenly when it comes to rifles, oh, they're mean and scary and big. So no, you can't have those to defend yourselves. And he's just like, WTF, mates? Like what? Like, oh, that's horrible. How dare someone want a rifle to defend themselves? That's just fascism or whatever we call it, I don't know. He said, despite gun violence in the area, our task is to apply the Constitution and the precedents of the Supreme Court, regardless of whether the result is one we agree with or as a matter of first principles or policy. Well, that is so fascist. I cannot believe that someone is taking personal opinion out of something whenever they're doing their job. That is so fucking horrible. Why can't you be like Democrats who do everything based on emotion? Sorry, do everything based on emotion and throw logic out the window because they want to feel better. It doesn't matter what policies are actually going to help this country. It's whether this policy makes you feel good. And eventually the Supreme Court took the case and struck down the ordinance. It held that the Second Amendment protects the possession of semi-automatic weapons for purposes unrelated to militia use. You cannot get more clear than that. The Constitution says XYZ. The Supreme Court takes these cases, agrees with XYZ in their decision on the court. Apparently, this guy is awful for that. National Rifle Association likes him, but therefore, to no one's surprise, this complete fucking train wreck embarrassment of a law center derided the pick, saying he has issued prior rulings that are ideologically aligned with the gun lobby and reflect a radical interpretation of the Constitution. Wait. Can we digest that? Because it is so monumentally stupid, it's very hard to. Kavanaugh, interpretation of the Constitution, whatever you made that dissenting opinion in 2001, is apparently radical. Saying, well, you can have semi-automatic handguns, why can't you have semi-automatic rifles? Apparently that's radical. But to these complete fucking idiots, taking away people's rights to own guns so they're defenseless whenever a thug comes to their house and shoots them in the fucking face, apparently that's not radical. Taking away someone's right to self-defense and right to life, the most important right of all, apparently that's not a radical interpretation of the Constitution. But Kavanaugh interpretation is. Just how? When you translate their statements, just what the fuck are these people on? This is why I want to make fun of them. They're so stupid. When you just repeat what they say back to you, and they just sit there just like, and then everyone can see they're just completely fucking retarded. Okay, that's all I have to say about that. We went through the two major issues of why they don't like this fascist Nazi, or whatever they want to call him, this person who hates women and hates whoever you're supposed to hate when you like guns. I don't know. I don't know. I don't believe their stupid ideology. But apparently liking guns is so horrible. So, as a libertarian, this guy isn't really that bad. Now, obviously, he's not a libertarian. He's going to make rulings I disagree with. But on the list of people who could have been in his place, there are a ton of people who were a lot worse. So, the Supreme Court's going to make stupid decisions. It makes stupid decisions all the time. And you have a right to challenge them. I'm not saying this guy's automatically going to be right all the time. But the hysteria that these people are going on and on about, that's what's stupid. That's what I'm calling out.